Hey guys, how are you? So, as y'all know, I've been talking about relationships, marriage, like a lot. Oh, good. And, it's pretty incredible some of the things that I've been going through, like, that you will look at it and just be like, no, like, if he's not the one, like, you shouldn't even spend time with him. But one of the things that I've learned is that where you feel like you're at home, where you feel comfortable, that is a place of healing. And so, I've been spending time with people, and one of the persons that I was spending time with, he has a lot of the qualities that I'm looking for in a husband, but he basically has some undealt with things, right, in his heart. And at first I was like, okay, maybe we should just like never see each other again, because then it's like hard. But then as I was able to process my emotions with this person and cry and be vulnerable, like there were just so many things in my heart that started to get healed and start to just, like, love is healing. And if you can experience healing through the love that someone gives you and vice versa, that you're able to converse about these hard issues about the past. You talk about how you're feeling, you're able to emote and cry. That is intimacy, that is vulnerability. And that may not necessarily come from just your husband, that can come from that process of dating. And you learning about yourself, you opening up to people, and you experiencing love and intimacy with that person. Your heart is healed of the issues it needs to be healed of before marriage, before meeting your husband. And I think what happens is a lot of people settle for that which is less than. They haven't gone to that point of healing where it's like they're attracted to that which looks like their parents, but it's not what they actually need. And so in saying this, the incredible journey that God has been putting me on has helped me to heal from so many things. And one of the things is that I noticed even today, as I was spending time with him, is that there was a moment of like, I'm feeling something in my heart and I want to cry and I need to process this, but I don't want to process it with you, because if we're not meant to be together, I'm not going to show these emotions to you. But so basically he took me somewhere, and then I was like hearing like go to the other city, and I went. And then as we're talking, as I'm crying and letting things out, I was like, wow, I feel like a normal person again. Because a lot of us, we run from our emotions, we run from how we feel, and we don't want to show that to others. So when we're feeling annoyed, when we're feeling angry, when we're feeling sad, we say we want alone time, we want to be alone, because we don't want to show that vulnerable side of us to other people. But essentially, if you're not able to show that to others, is there actually love relationships in your life where you can be truly yourself and vulnerable and imperfect and weak in front of your friends? Or is it that you have to put on a face, be someone that you're not, so that you can show up as this cheerful and happy self? And so I've been seeing that this whole process of vulnerability isn't about just getting to the end goal of like, here's my husband, like that's the end goal, and like let me not deal with anything else. And what the process God has put me through dating is that I've been learning who I am in each person, and communicating how my past, and communicating who I am and how I feel. and dealing and resolving conflict, confronting issues and feelings of hurt, feelings of happiness. And these are literally skills that like they don't teach you in school, that is so important in friendships. For example, something that I feel like even adults, 50 or 60-year-olds, don't know to do is, hey, when you said this, it bothered me because it made me feel this way. When you said this, it hurt my feelings because it made me feel like this and this. When you said this, it made me feel like you were condescending or accusing me or attacking me of something. And I think a lot of times, even in the workplace, we don't speak up about certain things that we're feeling because we're like, well, they're superior, they're the boss, I shouldn't speak up. But no, you should speak up. You should speak up. And one example is I was working in a fashion company, and at that time I just had broken up with my ex, and the supervisor basically took me aside and started yelling at me about stapling the wrong papers and saying that, hey, you're not in college anymore. I see you laughing, and like, we're not in college anymore. Just saying these things, which then triggered me to cry because I had just broken up with my ex. So the next day I was like, okay, God, like, I really need to speak up for myself because I feel bitter towards her as a boss. I feel injustice and I feel condescended. And so after a few days, she acted like nothing happened. She never apologized, anything. I pulled her aside. I was praying in tongues before that. And I was like, hey, can I talk to you? And I did the sandwich. And I said, hey, I know like you feel, I was like, I respect you, I want to learn from you, but second of all, the way you talk to me made me feel like you were looking down at me. I felt like that you were condescending. And I was like, we all make mistakes, but I feel like the way you were talking to me, it was like you were trying to punish me for being human, being imperfect. And I was like, I get that I like to laugh, but that doesn't mean I'm not a serious worker, Then third of all, I said, hey, I respect you and I want to learn from you. And she said, I respect you because you were able to speak up for yourself to a superior. And at the end of the day, like, all the things God has taught me through years and years of training, especially in doing ministry and like being out on the field, like when I'm staying at a hostel, when I'm staying at a hotel where like people are playing music and being loud next door, that instead of submitting to fear and saying, I'll just sit here and let that happen, no, speak up for yourself, face what's going on, knock on their door personally. I've literally knocked on people's doors personally and confronted that which needed to be confronted. Usually when there's music playing outside, I'm very aware that it's actually a spiritual thing going on. When people need to have the TV on at all times, there's something that needs to be broken, that there are feelings and emotions that they're usually not talking about, that they need to have a real conversation with someone about how they feel. People who always need to have the TV on when they're sleeping, again, there are emotions that haven't come out, right? And so I'm very aware, like when I hear TV upstairs or like, there's no peace, I'm like, okay, something is going on in that person spiritually, emotionally. And that's why, like, a lot of times when I'm talking to Uber drivers or Lyft drivers and I'm having a serious conversation with them, I need to first tell them, hey, can you please turn off the radio so I can focus on you, so that I can hear you. I can hear what you're saying. Because a lot of times people have a lot of things going on in their hearts. And the music is actually a distraction a lot of times from the words they need to speak out and emote and the emotions that they need to express, basically. And so I even noticed for myself, my eyes go to the right if I am avoiding my emotions. My eyes have been going to the left because my heart is right here. After I've cried, after I've emoted, expressed how I felt, I'm at peace with my heart, my eyes go to the left more because it's averted to my heart. Whereas when I'm avoiding how I feel and I don't want to press into how I feel, my eyes go to the right when I'm thinking. So that's really interesting, right? And I noticed that very like, wow, like that's pretty intense. Like that level of like emotional maturity that I've come to experience in my life, like that awareness of what's going on in other people. So for example, one time I was ministering to a man, and so he's like, yeah, this is how I feel about you, this is how I feel about you. And all of a sudden, because I didn't respond to his emotions and his feelings, he suddenly starts accusing me. He's like, you say that you're a prophet. Where does it say in the Bible? Where blah, 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 blah. And I go, oh, something happened in your heart. I said, you put up your wall and you use religion and theology to block out how you actually feel, which is maybe you feel rejected, or maybe you feel like, oh, I was too vulnerable right then. Let me guard myself, my heart, by using logic to make sense of things, right? Because I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel vulnerable. I don't want to feel like that open to you, because if I'm that open to you, I might get hurt. You might reject me. And so I noticed that like when he started saying and accusing me, I'm like, oh, his wall went up in his heart. The wall came up. And you start to learn more and more and more and more about what's actually going on. Like a lot of times people who are very guarded, they start using theology and religious views to start to, go against like what's going on. A prophet prophesies into the heart of what's going on. It's not about right or wrong, it's about your heart. God is about your heart. He's not looking at, oh my gosh, she did this yesterday, he did this. He is about your heart. What is going on inside of your heart? And one of the things I learned in the process of dating is that it's not about keeping a person. It's about experiencing love in and through and to that person and through that person. So love is actually an experience. It's not a matter of like I own this person, and love is actually a lot of learning to recognize your emotions, learning to communicate your emotions. I have love for this person, and you can love that person and you don't have to control them. There's no fear in love because perfect love casts out fear. So what happens when fear rises up in your heart? There's a defense mechanism, and you want to run away from those feelings. You want to hide. You want to pretend that you're okay. But when you finally recognize, hey, there's fear in my heart, and you express it, and you cry, then all of a sudden, there's no fear in love because perfect love casts out fear. You're able to love that person without reservation, without, you need to do this for me, and then I'll express love to you. No, yeah, you failed or you messed up, but I still love you because I don't own you. I get to love you from a place of purity. And yeah, it's pretty deep and pretty crazy, and like I wish that more people talked about this kind of stuff But it's pretty awesome. Like, in my family, we never talked about our emotions. My mom never said, like, I feel hurt because blah, blah, blah. How are you feeling? No, it was mostly like, you did this and you did that, and it's accusation, condemnation, guilt trip. You're not spending time with me. You don't love me. You're not doing this. Instead of, I feel neglected and I feel abandoned, I would appreciate spending time with you. It was more like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And I noticed that when I feel hurt, when I feel fear, that's when I want to accuse someone. That's when I want to attack someone. But what if we communicate from a place of vulnerability? I feel neglected and I feel like you don't value me because you're not spending a lot of time with me. So I see in our culture, in our society, the way we address a need, an emotional need, is through accusation. Is through like, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. What if we come from a place of vulnerability, which is healthy, to say, I feel that I feel neglected or I feel abandoned when you did this. I feel hurt when you said this. But because of our pride and our ego, we want to attack, we want to accuse. And so one of the things God has had me do the whole year is like, tell people how you feel. And don't be afraid, even if you feel love for this person, maybe they don't love you back. Or maybe they're ignoring you. But guess what? Still tell them how you feel. Still leave a voicemail. Still text them about how you feel. Even if they don't respond. And be brave. Be brave about your expression. That you don't need their response to express yourself. That you don't need, per se, their expression of their love for you to still express how you feel. Even if that is anger. Even if that is like you're upset, you're sad. About them not responding to you. And that's brought like so much revelation to me. Like, I've experienced so much love like in my heart because of this whole process. Like, I've grown so much this year, matured so much, like, and it was hard. It was a lot of tears. Even today I cried like a few times. And when you have love, you essentially don't need anything. That in being able to communicate and be heard by someone, be accepted and validated and understood, that kind of love, like, you can be living in a jungle, like wearing underwear and be okay, because that is love. Like, you don't need all this material possession to feel loved, because none of that really matters. But when you have emotional connection with someone, you're understood for who you are. Like, your heart can actually feel, and when you can feel, you feel alive, right? You feel awakened, you feel loved, and you feel present. You're not trying to be busy. And I noticed this today too. When I started to get upset, I started wanting to like just run, just go somewhere. I wanted to busy myself. And so I think people who are constantly busy, they are running away from their emotions. They're running away from feelings or needing to feel. And when I finally like expressed and emoted and cried and let things out, it was like I felt very settled in my heart. I felt at home. So yeah, thanks for watching. But yeah, Heavenly Father God, I just pray your peace and your presence, Lord, just cover us, Lord. And You are loved for who you are, and I'm so proud of you. Thank you for loving me, and thank you for being my representative on this earth. For you love with purity, and you love with all of your heart. And I pray that you have courage to walk into the season that I have for you, which is preparation for a better thing, a preparation for more love, preparation for more intimacy, and essentially marriage. And so for all of you out there who you've been waiting for your spouse, for your life partner, do not be afraid to feel your emotions. Do not be afraid of the process of dating and being vulnerable with a human being. Because it's not just about getting to the end goal of here's your husband, here's your wife. It's being vulnerable with every human being that you come into contact with, that you're able to be vulnerable in such a way that opens your heart to love. Because every person that God sends your way is an angel that is meant to teach you something. So I pray that this message inspired you, that the Lord is just working in your heart. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my blog, RebeccaLeon.com. And if you'd like to make a donation to this ministry, you can do so on my website, RebeccaLeon.com. I do also have a Spotify. It's called The Bex Show, BEX. Make sure to subscribe, follow it. And I love you guys. God bless. Bye. Wave.